She said, "I need a break to figure out what I want." I said, "Take all the time you need." 6 months later, she came back saying she'd made a mistake. I introduced her to my fiancé and said, "Perfect timing. We need a wedding planner." I, 29 male, never thought I'd be the guy posting one of these stories. Always figured the people who ended up here were either making things up or just had worse luck than me. Turns out I was wrong on both counts. Rachel and I had been together for 7 years. Met in college, moved in together after graduation, the whole 9 yards. We weren't married yet because she wanted to establish her career first. I respected that. I'm not one of those guys who needs a ring to prove commitment, or so I thought. 3 years ago, we bought a condo together. Well, technically I bought it, my name on the deed, my down payment from an inheritance from my grandmother. But it was our home. She decorated it, picked the neighborhood because it was close to her yoga studio. I paid the mortgage, she covered utilities and groceries. It worked until it didn't. It was a Tuesday in March when she dropped the bomb. I'd just gotten home from work, was heating up leftover Thai food when she sat down at our kitchen island with that look. "You know the one. We need to talk." I turned off the microwave. "Okay. I've been doing a lot of thinking." She was twisting her ring. Not an engagement ring, just the silver band she always wore. "And I think I need some space." Space? A break to figure out what I want. I set down my pad thai. "What does that mean exactly?" She launched into this whole speech about how she felt stuck, how she needed to find herself, how she loved me but wasn't sure if she was in love with me anymore. Classic breakup bingo. But then she said something that made my spider sense tingle. "I think I should stay with Megan for a while." Megan? Her coworker who lived in a luxury apartment downtown. The one who was always posting about wine nights and living her best life on Instagram. "For how long?" I asked. "I don't know. A few weeks? A month? I just need time to think." Here's the thing. I'm not an idiot. I knew what this was really about, but I also knew that begging someone to stay never works. So I did the only thing I could do. "Okay," I said. "Take all the time you need." She looked surprised. "Really? Really? If you're not happy, you should figure out what makes you happy." She packed a bag that night, took her yoga mat, her work clothes, her laptop, left behind 7 years worth of everything else. I helped her carry her stuff to her car because I'm not petty. Not yet, anyway. "This doesn't mean we're broken up," she said before driving away. "It's just a break." "Sure," I said. "A break." The first month was rough, not gonna lie. I drank too much whiskey, ordered too much pizza, and may have ugly cried to my best friend Connor once or twice. But by the second month, something shifted. I started noticing things, like how she blocked me from viewing her Instagram stories, but not her regular posts. Rookie mistake. Like how Megan's stories suddenly featured a lot of double wine glasses and girls' night posts that looked suspiciously like date nights. Like how Rachel's car was never at Megan's apartment when I happened to drive by. Don't judge me, we've all done the drive-by. But the real kicker came about a month into our break. Connor called me at 11 p.m. on a Friday. "Dude, you need to see this." He sent me a screenshot from his girlfriend's friend's Instagram story. There was Rachel at some rooftop bar downtown, wrapped around a guy I'd never seen before. The caption, "Love is in the air." I stared at that photo for probably an hour. This guy was everything I wasn't. Tall, built like a CrossFit instructor, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car payment. They looked like they'd been together for months, not weeks. That's when I decided to do some digging. Turns out Mr. CrossFit was named Derek Chen. Investment banker. UCLA MBA. Drives a Tesla. His LinkedIn looked like a capitalism fever dream. And according to some creative social media investigation, he and Rachel had been liking each other's posts for the past 6 months. 6 months. Our break suddenly made a lot more sense. Here's where a different guy might have gone nuclear. Blown up her phone, showed up at Megan's apartment, made a scene. But that's not my style. I'm a planner. Always have been. And if Rachel wanted to play games, well, I had some time on my hands. First things first, the apartment. Remember how I said it was in my name? That wasn't by accident. I'd insisted on it because my credit was better and the inheritance made the down payment easier. Rachel hadn't pushed back because, in her words, we're basically married anyway. I texted her 2 days after seeing the photo. "Hey, just wanted to check in. How's the self-discovery going?" She replied within minutes. "Good, really good actually. I think this time apart is helping me gain clarity. How are you?" "Great," I typed back, taking some time to work on myself too. And I was, just not in the way she thought. Update 1. So remember how I said I was working on myself? Turns out that was the best decision I'd made in years. I started hitting the gym at 5 a.m. Not because I wanted to become Mr. CrossFit 2.0, but because I couldn't sleep anyway, and rage lifting is surprisingly therapeutic. Deleted Facebook, limited my Instagram use, and threw myself into work. Started taking on extra projects, networking like crazy. Even updated my LinkedIn for the first time in 3 years. But the real game changer came about 3 months into the break, in the form of a new hire at my company. Her name was Priya, financial analyst, fresh from getting her master's at Northwestern. They assigned her to my team for training, and we hit it off immediately. She was brilliant, funny, and had this way of calling out corporate bullshit that made even our most boring meetings entertaining. "Is that guy seriously mansplaining Excel to you?" she whispered during one particularly painful presentation. "You literally built our entire database." I tried not to laugh. Failed. After a few weeks of working together, she asked if I wanted to grab drinks after work. "Just as friends," she clarified. "I don't date coworkers, but you look like you could use a friend." Was it that obvious? Over drinks, I found myself telling her everything. The 7-year relationship, the break, the Instagram detective work. She listened without judgment, occasionally making these little sounds of disbelief. "So let me get this straight," she said after I finished. "She's living rent-free in the apartment you pay for, while dating some finance bro, but still texting you about gaining clarity?" That about sums it up. "And you're just okay with this?" "I'm planning," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "Planning what?" "I'll let you know when I figure it out." Meanwhile, Rachel's texts were getting more frequent and more bizarre as the months wore on. She'd send photos of sunsets with captions like, "Thinking of you," and random memories. "Remember that time we got caught in the rain in Portland?" Really laying it on thick. I always responded politely but briefly. "Nice sunset." "Yeah, Portland was fun. Gray rock method, they call it. Be as boring as possible." Around the 5-month mark, the kicker came. She texted, "Hey, I need to come by the apartment sometime to pick up some of my fall clothes. Is that okay?" "Sure," I replied. "I'll be at work. You still have your key." "Actually," she typed, "could we maybe talk when I'm there? I have some things I want to say." I bet she did. "I have a meeting that runs late, but we can talk soon." The next day, I made sure I was definitely not home, but I did have a Ring camera installed a few months prior, for security reasons, obviously. Watched her let herself in, wander around like she was casing the joint. She spent a weird amount of time in my home office. Then she grabbed a bunch of clothes and left. That night, Priya texted, "How did Operation Avoid Your Ex go?" "Successful." She took the bait. "What bait?" "Check your work email tomorrow." I'd left my laptop open on my desk with my email conveniently visible. The latest message? A flight confirmation to Cabo for 2. Departure date, 2 weeks out. The booking name? Just mine. The second passenger? Listed as guest, TB. Was it petty? Absolutely. Was it effective? You bet. Rachel texted me that night. "So, Cabo?" "Work retreat," I replied. "Company reward for closing the Morrison deal." There was no Morrison deal, but she didn't know that. "Oh, that's nice. For 2 people? Yeah, we get a +1. Haven't decided who to bring yet." Radio silence for 3 days after that. Then, "Can we please talk? In person? I really need to see you. I'm pretty slammed with work right now, but maybe after I get back from Cabo." That's 2 weeks away. Yeah, busy season, you know how it is. Meanwhile, my actual life was improving dramatically. The gym routine was paying off. I'd gotten a promotion, and my friendship with Priya was becoming something more. But the universe wasn't done. Connor called me on a Saturday morning, voice weird. "Dude, you need to sit down." "Why? Remember Derek, Tesla Derek?" "Unfortunately, he's engaged." I laughed. "Yeah, to Rachel. I figured that was coming." "No man, to someone else. Has been for a year." The floor dropped out from under me. My girlfriend saw it on LinkedIn. Some tech executive named Amanda. Weddings in August. There's a whole website. I pulled up the site while we were still on the phone. There they were, Derek and Amanda, professional photos, the works. Our story included a timeline that very much overlapped with him playing rooftop Romeo with Rachel. Holy shit, I breathed. You gonna tell her? I thought about it for maybe 30 seconds. Nope. Seriously? She wanted to find herself. Let her find this out herself. Update 2. 6 months into our break, I was actually doing great. Shocking, I know. The Cabo trip took Connor. We spent a week drinking margaritas, deep-sea fishing, and absolutely not thinking about my ex. Posted just enough photos to make it clear I was living my best life. Rachel, meanwhile, was spiraling. The text started the day I got back. Can we please talk now? I've had time to think. I miss us. I kept pushing it off. Too busy, too tired. Maybe next week. Then Priya dropped a bomb on me over lunch. So I have a confession, she said, picking at her salad. Remember when I said I don't date coworkers? Yeah? Well, I might have been reconsidering that policy. I nearly choked on my sandwich. Priya, I know. Terrible timing. You're still dealing with your ex. I just thought you should know in case, whenever you're ready. If you're interested, which you probably aren't. Oh God, this is awkward. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Adorable, but still a crash. Priya, I said carefully, you're amazing, seriously, but you're not ready. I get it. I'm sorry. Let's pretend this never happened. Actually, I was gonna say I'd already been reconsidering the coworker thing too. Her head snapped up. Really? Really? But you're right about the timing. I need to officially end things with Rachel first. Do this the right way. She smiled. I can respect that. Give me a week. I've waited this long. What's one more week? That night, I finally texted Rachel. Okay, let's talk. Saturday 2 p.m., coffee at Grounded. Her response was immediate. Yes, thank you. I have so much to say. I bet she did. Saturday came too fast and not fast enough. I got to the coffee shop early, grabbed a table in the corner where I had a clear exit path. Always plan your exits, folks. She showed up 10 minutes late, looking like she'd spent 3 hours getting ready. New dress, fresh highlights, full makeup. The works. Hi, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. You look good. Thanks, you too. Awkward silence. Then she launched into it. I've made a terrible mistake, she started. These past 6 months have shown me what I really want. And it's you. It's us. I was just scared, 7 years is a long time and I panicked. But being apart made me realize you're my person. I let her talk. She went on about how she'd been confused, how Megan had filled her head with ideas about missing out. She realized the grass wasn't greener. I want to come home, she finished. I want to work on us. I took a sip of my coffee. What about Derek? The color drained from her face. What? Derek, the investment banker. The guy you've been dating. How did you? Instagram exists, Rachel. I'm not stupid, she rallied quickly. I'll give her that. It wasn't serious, it was a fling. I was trying to figure out what I wanted. By dating someone else? It wasn't like that. We weren't together. You said I could take time to figure things out. I said you could take time to figure out what you wanted. I didn't say you could keep me as a backup plan while you test drove other relationships. That's not what I was doing. Really? Then why are you back now? Did Derek dump you, or did you find out about Amanda? Direct hit. Her face went through about 6 different emotions in 3 seconds. How do you know about Amanda? Like I said, I'm not stupid. She started crying, the ugly mascara running kind. I didn't know he was engaged. He told me they broke up. I felt so stupid when I found out. But it made me realize that you wanted your backup plan back? You're not a backup plan. Then what am I, Rachel? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you wanted to see if you could upgrade, found out you couldn't, and now you're settling for what you had. That's not fair. Neither is what you did to me. She reached for my hand. I pulled back. Please, she said. We have 7 years together. Doesn't that mean anything? It meant everything. Past tense. So that's it? You're just giving up? I almost laughed. I'm not the one who gave up. I'm the one who spent 6 months respecting your decision while you were playing house with someone else's fiancé. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. We can get through this. You're right, people do make mistakes, but this wasn't a mistake. This was a choice, a series of choices. For 6 months before you asked for a break, you were setting this up. You thought you found something better. It didn't work out, and now you want to come back like nothing happened. So what? You're just going to throw away 7 years? I didn't throw it away. You did. The moment you decided I was worth risking for a maybe. She was full-on sobbing now. People were starting to stare. I love you. No, I said quietly. You love the security I provided. You love having someone who pays the mortgage and doesn't question where you are. You love having a safety net. But you don't love me. If you did, you wouldn't have done this. I stood up to leave. She grabbed my wrist. Wait, please. Just tell me what I need to do. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, whatever you want. What I want, I said, gently removing her hand, is for you to move on, like I have. You've moved on? It's been 6 months. Yeah, well, apparently that's all the time it takes to figure out what you want. You taught me that. I left her there, felt bad for maybe 10 minutes. Then I remembered the Instagram photos, the lies, the 6 months of groundwork she'd laid, and the guilt evaporated. That night, I had a date with Priya. A real date. She wore this blue dress that made her eyes pop, and she actually snorted when she laughed at my dumb jokes. So, she said over dessert, how did the coffee meeting go? Exactly as expected. That bad? That predictable. She raised her wine glass. To predictable exes and unpredictable futures. I clinked my glass against hers. I'll drink to that. Update 3. I know you're all dying for the dramatic finale, so here it is. 6 months after that coffee shop conversation, my life looked completely different. Priya and I were going strong, like seriously strong. She'd met my parents. I'd survived meeting her very traditional Indian family, barely. And we'd just booked a trip to Italy for our 6-month anniversary. Yeah, I know. Guy who was commitment phobic about marriage after 7 years was planning anniversary trips after 6 months. Things change when you're with the right person. I'd also sold the condo. Turns out living in a space my ex had decorated while dating my current girlfriend was weird for everyone involved. Made a nice profit, bought a new place closer to work. Priya helped me pick it out, but insisted on keeping her own apartment. I'm not making Rachel's mistake, she said. We do this right or not at all. Have I mentioned I love this woman? Anyway, I was at Whole Foods on a random Wednesday, trying to figure out which overpriced olive oil Priya's recipe actually needed, when I heard it. Mark? I turned around. There was Rachel, holding a basket with one sad bagged salad and a bottle of wine. She looked rough. Not homeless rough, but definitely life isn't going as planned rough. Hey, I said, because what else do you say? Wow, you look good, really good. Thanks, you doing okay? She laughed, but it was hollow. Yeah, great. Living with Megan, again, still, whatever. Awkward pause. I heard you sold the condo, she said. Yeah, a few months ago. And you're seeing someone? Connor's girlfriend mentioned. I am. Another pause. Then she said quietly, I really messed up, didn't I? Rachel. No, I know. I do. I spent so much time thinking about what I might be missing that I missed what I had. She gestured at my basket, which had accumulated way too many ingredients for one recipe. Cooking for someone special? Yeah. She's lucky. I'm the lucky one. Her eyes got watery. We were good together, weren't we, before I ruined it? We were, I admitted. But good isn't always enough. I still love you. I know, but you love the idea of me more than the actual me. You always did. She opened her mouth to protest, then closed it. Maybe you're right. I hope you find what you're looking for, Rachel. I really do. Thanks, I hope. I hope she makes you happy. She does. I thought that was it. Closure achieved. But the universe had one more card to play. 2 weeks later, Priya and I were having dinner at her cousin's restaurant when she got this look on her face. Don't turn around, she said quietly, but your ex just walked in. Of course she did. Is she alone? No, she's with some guy. Tall, muscles, looks like he schedules his bathroom breaks. I laughed. Let me guess. Polo shirt? Popped collar? She has a type? Rachel spotted us. The look on her face was priceless. Shock, recognition, then resignation. She whispered something to Polo Shirt, who looked over at us. Then she did something I didn't expect. She walked over. Hi, she said awkwardly. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to introduce myself. She turned to Priya. I'm Rachel, the ex. Priya, because she's classier than I'll ever be, smiled and extended her hand. Priya, the upgrade. I choked on my water. Rachel laughed, genuinely laughed. Yeah, I can see that. She looked at me. She's beautiful. She's also brilliant, funny, and calls me on my bullshit, I said, taking Priya's hand. So everything I wasn't, Rachel said, but without bitterness. I'm happy for you, both of you. Thanks, I said, meaning it. She started to leave, then turned back. Can I ask you something? When did you know that we weren't going to work? I thought about it. Honestly, the moment you said you needed a break to figure out what you wanted, because I already knew what I wanted, and someone who has to think about whether they want to be with me, isn't it? She nodded slowly. That's fair. Well, enjoy your dinner. After she left, Priya was quiet for a moment. Then, that was very mature of you. I have my moments. Also the upgrade? Really? She grinned. Too much? Perfect amount. We got engaged 3 months later. Nothing fancy. She proposed to me actually, in the middle of a PowerPoint presentation about quarterly projections. Slide 47, projected growth. Slide 48, will you marry me? The entire finance department lost their minds. The wedding planning was going well until Priya had what she called a stroke of genius. You know what would be hilarious? She said one night. If we hired your ex as our wedding planner. Priya, no. Come on, it would be the ultimate power move. It would be cruel. It would be karma. No. She pouted. Fine, but I'm at least inviting her to the wedding. Why would you do that? Because, she said, curling up against me, I want her to see what she gave up. I want her to watch you marry someone who never needed a break to figure out you were worth keeping. That's still cruel. That's still karma. We didn't hire Rachel. We didn't invite her either. But we did run into her one more time, the week before the ceremony. We were picking up Priya's dress when Rachel walked out of the boutique next door. Because of course she did. She saw us, froze, then noticed the garment bag. Wedding dress? She asked. Yeah, Priya said. Next Saturday. Congratulations. Thanks, actually. Priya looked at me with that expression that meant she was about to do something I wouldn't like. We're still looking for someone to coordinate day of stuff. Interested? I stared at her. Rachel stared at her. Are you serious? Rachel asked. Why not? You're good at event planning. We need a coordinator. Rachel looked between us like we were both insane, which fair. I don't think that's a good idea. She said finally. Probably not, Priya agreed cheerfully. But think about it. My number's on the website if you change your mind. In the car, I turned to my fiancée. What was that? Closure, she said simply. You gave her yours. Now she has mine. By offering her a job at our wedding? By showing her I'm not threatened, that I won, that she's just another vendor to me. She paused. Also, I wasn't actually going to hire her. I just wanted to see her face. You're terrifying. You love it, I did. Rachel never called, but she did send a wedding gift. A nice set of kitchen knives with a card that just said, for the couple who cuts through the bullshit, best wishes are. Priya hung the card on our fridge. See, she's got a sense of humor after all. The wedding was perfect. During the reception, Priya pulled me aside. No regrets? About what? About how it all played out. I looked at my wife, and smiled. No regrets. It led me to you. Good answer, she said, and kissed me. So that's my story, Reddit. Turns out, the best revenge isn't some elaborate scheme. It's living well. It's finding someone who doesn't need to figure out if they want you. And sometimes, if you're really lucky, it's marrying someone who's scarier than you are. Thanks for reading. I'm gonna go cook dinner for my wife now. With the knives my ex bought us. Life's funny that way. Edit. Since everyone's asking, yes, Priya knows I posted this. She proofread it. Her only comment was that I didn't emphasize enough how good she looked in the blue dress. So for the record, she looked amazing in the blue dress. Edit 2. For those saying we were too nice to Rachel, we weren't being nice. We were being indifferent. There's a difference. Edit 3. The cooking channel people found this somehow? Hi, I guess. Yes, I still can't figure out which olive oil to buy. Priya does the shopping now.